sound recordist. And my job is to record the opportunity to look at the arc of a character.
First thing to understand is what in a scene, in terms of its sonic world.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Dave FM. I'm your host, David Moylan. We are broadcasting out of Shepparton, Victoria, Australia. Our aim here is to get a better understanding of the ins and outs of the Australian film industry. We're talking to people in the industry and getting a better insight into the do's and don'ts, from pre-production through to post-production and beyond. This is Dave FM. Our guest today is the publisher and editor of Video Camera Magazine Australia. He's also pioneering in a new concept, AustralianDrone.com.au, and we'll be expanding our knowledge in all aspects of audio, visual and publishing. Welcome aboard, David.
No problem. Thanks very much for the opportunity.
So give us a bit of background knowledge of who you are, David.
Well, succinctly, my background in photography goes back to my dad, who was a professional photographer in the southwest of WA back in the mid-60s. I started as a journalist by accident in the late 70s doing motorsport, of all things. Then graduated from there into, I was working in a Tandy store in WA for about 4 years, and then went to one of the computer centres, which I ran until 1985 or 86, somewhere around there. So that's where I picked up the technology from. I kept up journalism and graduated from there into the tech side of things, which sort of just kept going and going. Back in the 90s, I was asked by Peter Bassina, who is, many will know as used to be the gadget guy on Channel 7 Sunrise, to edit his magazine, which was called Video Camera, which I accepted. Did that for Peter for 3 or 4 years, and then he closed it down to go on to other projects. So I thought, well, I've been an editor. Well, not been an editor, sorry. I've been an editor. I've been a writer. I've been a photographer. I've done video. I've written video scripts and TV scripts and film things and all sorts of stuff. So what do I do? Well, what the hell? Let's start a video camera magazine. I've never done it because I've never published. But how hard can it be? So that's when Australian Video Camera itself was born. From, I can't remember the exact years now. It's been going about 11 years, I think. The original concept was as a paper magazine. And we stopped that about 5 years ago because it was just too expensive. The cost of printing these things now is horrific. We were printing, I think it was 12,000 copies, and it was costing $25,000 just to print it. And then you got distribution costs on top of that, and then you got to pay writers and stuff. Yeah. So we took the big step to go into the web side of things. We did ask all our readers first what they thought, and we've had subsequent surveys since, and overwhelmingly people still prefer a paper magazine, but it's just economically not viable.
Absolutely.
We ran the website, we ran the website as a website only for about 3 years, then had an idea to see if we could make an e-magazine as well, and we used the Adobe Acrobat platform, as we still do. It was difficult in the sense that turning a magazine into an e-magazine in Acrobat is actually quite easy, but I wanted to take it one step further and put video in there and have audio and links and all sorts of things. And there was quite a learning curve in that because nobody seemed to have done it using Acrobat. Adobe have got their own funny way of approaching these things, but we finally managed to crack it. And we've been putting that out now. We get our 100th edition about 4 months ago, I think it was.
Yeah, wow, great to hear. That's fantastic. And for myself, it was incredibly invaluable for my understanding of the audio-visual world. And even today, even more so with the website. It's incredible amount of information that's available now, and there is a lot of it.
Yeah, we've been very lucky in the sense that the writers that I've had over the years, and 2 of them have stuck with me all the way through, are all professional people in the industry. They're not writers per se who write for a living. They're David Smith, who's based in Melbourne, for example. He has a company down in Melbourne called Imagine Action. He is a video shooter. He's a producer, a writer, a director. He starred in it. He had a show on the ABC for many years called Earthwatch, which he put together. Steve Turner in Adelaide is also ex-TV. He's ex-Channel 7. And if you ever watch the AFL football being telecast from Adelaide when the Crows are playing, he's actually the director on freelance basis doing football.
Yeah.
Steve has done fishing shows out of there. He was a senior director and producer for a long time. He's now freelance.
Yep.
And these guys do it because they enjoy doing it. They get to play with new toys, and they're actually very good writers, as it turns out. But the major thing about using people like that is that they know their stuff, and other people who are in this industry as professional cameramen or whatever, they appreciate that these guys are on an equal footing with them.
Yeah.
We've just got a new guy in writing for us who most people in the industry would know, a fellow out of Sydney called Peter de Vries. Peter's been around for years and years and years. He's actually a member of the Australian Cinematographic Society, Cinematographic Society.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff he has done, he's worked with the likes of David Attenborough and all sorts of, they have footage in all sorts of things. And Peter now does a monthly thing for us, which is a Q&A and tutorials that he puts together.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, we're well equipped, and the idea is that we don't just want to appeal to the people who take video with their smartphone, and as much as the purists don't like that idea, they are still there.
Mm-hmm.
We want to start at the very basics and say, okay, if you've got a smartphone or you've bought a camcorder or you're an enthusiast or you're a broadcast professional, we want something that appeals to everybody, and everybody can learn something from everybody else, is the way we look at it. And it's really turned into quite a nice big family of people we've got out there as writers and readers and contributors and whatnot.
Yeah, fantastic. I think for myself, this is the reason why I'm doing this program, is to get people involved and a better understanding of the ins and outs and the new technologies, even the old technologies, and just getting people who want to broaden their understanding of audio-visual in all aspects. This is the reason why I'm doing this show. But yeah, so
well, the way we try and approach it is not just from a clinical point of view, and I can give you two very good examples. Pretty much in the same area. But about a month ago now, we were up in Harvey Bay. The idea was to go up there and just do a fishing trip, because I like my fishing.
yeah.
And got in touch with one of the local guides up there, a fellow called John Henke, who said, yeah, we can take you out. And I just happened to tell him that I had a drone with me, and he said, well, if you bring your drone, we can take some footage for my own website, which is Guided Fishing Down Under, and we're putting together a TV show. I didn't realise at the time that he is actually an accomplished TV director and producer in his own right, because he's done TV shows. So we turned up there with a brand new drone and took the footage that he wanted, and inadvertently there was, I won't mention the name of the brand of the drone, so that's not fair, but inadvertently it turned out there was probably an error in the firmware of the drone, so we got the drone back about 6 feet from the boat in the middle of Harvey Bay, and the battery just suddenly went flat.
Oh
So
dear.
this thing dropped 30 feet from the air into the drink and is now somewhere at the bottom of Harvey Bay if someone wants to chase it.
Oh no.
But the point exactly. The point I'm making there is that when you do tests like that, you're out in the field, and it could happen to anybody else. If it happened on land, you just make a story. Oh well, the battery went flat and this thing went crump, and we went and picked it up. But you get all these things that you just can't do in a test bed situation. Now the flip side of that is that next week we're going back up there with a new item that's just been released that you may have seen on the website from Seagate, the people who make hard drives. And they've got, in conjunction with DJI, who are the major drone makers in the world, they make the big stuff. And they've brought out a thing called the Fly Drive, which is a ruggedized USB drive that's designed specifically to take drone footage, or they designed it, more correctly, to take drone footage, so that you can land your drone, rip the SD card out, plug it straight into the drive, and transfer your footage within seconds.
Right.
And then off you go again. But I thought about this yesterday and went, well, hang on a minute. It's not just for drones, because in the case of John Henke, when he's out in his boat fishing, doing a fishing show, he's got his camera, he's got his assistant, and when they finished an SD card, which doesn't take long when you're shooting in 4K, they need to quickly change the cards over and get the footage dumped down so it's ready again. So why not use this drive for that as well?
Okay, fantastic.
And if we'd never gone fishing out with John in the first place, that idea would never come to us. You'd get the drive and write up about it as Seagate, see it as being a drone drive, rather than it could be used by anyone. You've got two terabytes of data sitting there.
Yeah.
Any photographer in the field could use, and it's portable.
Well, that's good to have that backup.
Exactly.
I think it would be a fairly common thing, of that happening.
Well, that's the way we try to approach these things, that we don't just do test bench reviews. We actually take them out in the field. We've bolted cameras inside V8 supercars. We've had them attached to the fronts of boats, on the side of helicopters. You name it, we've done it. We did a story back in May where myself and Jackie drove from here in Queensland back to home in WA and back again, and we had, I think it was 5 cameras in the car, plus 2 drones. So we videoed everything on the way across and did a sort of a pseudo story of driving across Australia in a way that nobody's ever done it before.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great. Many adventures there. Yeah, okay. So what's more or less in the future for the Video Camera magazine?
It's a bit different from most magazines and industries in a sense because, yeah, a lot of magazines, I don't know if anybody knows how magazine layouts are generally done, but you're planning 3 or 4 months ahead. Like the computer magazines right now will be planning for their Christmas edition of, you know, the Christmas ideas to buy Dad for Christmas as a present, that sort of stuff, techie toys. We can't do that because we don't know what's coming. The camera companies keep it very quiet as to what their new models are and when they're coming. The only thing we do know is that 2 shows of the year, which is 70 in Australia and the Las Vegas CES show, is where the majority of the new products are announced. So in between times, we're never sure what we might have in the next edition because somebody could just suddenly pop up with a brand new camera. But nobody knew that a week ago. This happened last week that Sony have just suddenly announced a competitor for the GoPro, a direct competitor rather than just their action cam.
Right.
And nobody knew about this thing 2 weeks ago. So all of a sudden you've got to scramble with your layouts and say, well, the next edition of the magazine is going to have a story on this. We've got things like, something on the board now, plug-ins for software, doing live events. It's all sorts of juggling loads of stories to see what we can fit into the next edition that's still current without going too mad on certain, just sticking to one subject, like saying this is all going to be camera reviews or tutorials. So we play it a bit by ear, but we try and keep a theme to it that in every edition there's always going to be a couple of camera reviews, a couple of software reviews, a couple of tutorials. We do interviews. They're very popular. We've interviewed people like Tony Jordan, who was the genius behind Life on Mars and EastEnders and Minder, those sorts of things. We've interviewed directors of Doctor Who. We like to interview Australian guys we did one with a fellow locally here called Terry Royan, who was in charge of all the collation of the video when they shot Mad Max Fury Road.
Nice.
His job was just to get the video via wireless, and I think it was 34 different locations filming at once.
Not surprising.
Yeah, and it puts a life into a story rather than, as I say, just some technical background or something.
Right. Okay.
And on that note, if anybody out there has got a story that they want to write, or they'd like to be interviewed because they're doing, for example, making their own short film or a film for Trot Fest or some such thing, get in touch with us. We interview those people soon.
Okay. Well, I've certainly got a story for you, but it ended up in.
Please don't let it be another horror apocalyptic one.
No.
I get swamped with those.
No. It was a short film in good integrity, but
Excellent.
fell into disaster and chaos more than once. So, that was an adventure. But more of that later, and certainly would like to talk to you again, and more so. But obviously using you to getting other people to call in that are in the industry to have a chat and to expand our knowledge and understanding of everything audio-visual and the film industry, the video production industry, and so forth. Anything that's in relation to all that. But thank you very much for your time, David.
My pleasure, thank you.
Yeah, okay. And people can get in touch with you or send you a message through Facebook and...
Yeah, Facebook or through the website, which is www.australian-videocamera.com, or Facebook, just do a search for Australian Video Camera.
Fantastic, yep. Very much all exciting stuff there, David. Very much appreciate your time, and we'll talk again soon.
Cheers, thanks very much.